Greetings everyone. Thank you for joining me in this video. Before we dive into the story, please do me a favor and consider subscribing to this channel for more awesome audio stories. It helps me a lot and I appreciate it. Enough chatting and let's begin the story. Jake sighed as he loosened his tie, happy to be home after a long day at the office. As a successful lawyer at a prestigious Manhattan firm, his days were often packed back-to-back with meetings and court appearances. He had just wrapped up a big case and was looking forward to relaxing with his girlfriend, Mia. "Honey, I'm home," he called out as he entered the cozy one-bedroom apartment he shared with Mia in the Murray Hill neighborhood of New York City. Mia emerged from the bedroom, greeting him with a smile. "Hey babe, how was your day?" "Long," Jake said, giving her a quick kiss before collapsing onto the couch. "But I'm glad it's over. Now I can enjoy a nice, quiet evening with my best girl." As Mia chatted about the story she was working on for the New York Times, where she was employed as an up-and-coming journalist, Jake found his mind wandering. He loved Mia, he truly did. They had been dating for almost 2 years now, since meeting at a mutual friend's wedding. She was whip-smart, ambitious, beautiful, basically the whole package. But lately, Jake felt their relationship had become a bit stale. Their nights and weekends had settled into a predictable routine: takeout food, Netflix, grocery shopping. There were no more surprises or excitement. As Mia continued filling him in on the details of her newest article, Jake nodded along absent-mindedly. What he needed was a night out on the town with the boys to shake things up. "Jake? Hello? Did you hear anything I just said?" Jake blinked, tuning back into Mia waving her hand in front of his face. "Sorry babe," he said sheepishly. "My mind was somewhere else. Work has just been so busy lately, you know I'm exhausted." "What were you saying about your story?" Mia sighed. "Never mind. I'm going to take a shower before dinner." Jake felt a twinge of guilt as she disappeared into the bathroom. He hadn't meant to check out like that. Making a mental note to pay better attention later, he pulled out his phone to text his friend Mark. "Jake, hey man, some of the guys going out tonight? Could use a drink or two after the week I've had." "Mark, definitely. Meet us at Scotty's at 9. First round's on me." Jake grinned. Scotty's was a popular bar downtown, always filled with good-looking women. Just what he needed to get the adrenaline pumping again. A couple drinks, a little flirting, and he'd be recharged and ready to redevote himself to Mia. No big deal. When Mia emerged in a robe, toweling her long dark hair dry, Jake hedged carefully. "So Mark and some of the guys invited me out for some drinks tonight. Cool if I meet them around 9? Mia raised her eyebrows in surprise but shrugged. "Sure babe, you deserve to blow off some steam. I need to work late on this draft anyway." "You're the best," Jake said, jumping up to plant an enthusiastic kiss on her forehead before hopping in the shower himself. As the warm water rinsed away the office grime of the day, he felt lighter just thinking about the night that lay ahead. A few hours later, Jake emerged from the steam-filled bathroom, clean-shaven and smelling of Mia's favorite cologne. She glanced up from her laptop, her eyes tracing approvingly over his tailored gray suit and purple silk tie. "Well, don't you clean up nice?" she purred. "Sure I can't convince you to stay in with me tonight instead?" Jake chuckled. "As tempting as that is, I really need a guy's night." He leaned down to whisper in her ear playfully. "But don't worry, I'll be thinking of you even when I'm out with all those hot girls at Scotty's." Mia swatted him with a magazine, laughing. "You better be. Have fun. I'll probably crash early anyway." "Love you," Jake said with another quick kiss as he headed for the door. "Love you too," Mia called after him cheerfully. The door closed behind him and she sighed, turning her attention back to her laptop screen. Downtown, the pulsing neon lights of Scotty's bar and grill beckoned. Mark and the other associates from Jake's law firm were already gathered around a table, beers in hand. They cheered when he entered, clapping him on the back. "There he is. The man of the hour," crowed Mark, handing him a cold bottle. "Thought you could use some drank after the way you killed it in Robertson vs. Smith Industries this week. That closing argument was legendary." Jake grinned, clinking his beer against the rest of the group's. The praise washed over him like music. "All in a day's work, gentlemen. But thanks for recognizing, I have been busting my ass lately for the firm." As the evening wore on, the group discussed work, sports, and relationship troubles over several rounds. Jake enthusiastically joined in, feeling more energetic and alive. "This is exactly what I needed," he thought contentedly. He couldn't even remember the last time he had been out with the guys. Glancing around the bar, his gaze was suddenly drawn to a beautiful brunette seated alone near the corner, sipping a martini. Making eye contact, she flashed him a dazzling smile and lifted a manicured hand in a slight wave. Intrigued, Jake stood up and made his way over. There was no harm in a little innocent flirting, he reasoned. Especially if it made the night even more interesting. I couldn't help but notice a classy girl like you drinking alone over here, Jake approached confidently. Can I get you another? The woman appraised him approvingly through long lashes before responding throatily, aren't you the charmer? I'd love one. Her hand lingered on his arm, ice cold from the drink. I'm Zoe. And you are? Jake, he replied, signaling to the bartender for 2 more martinis. Zoe sipped delicately before replying, pleasure to meet you, Jake. To be honest, I could use the company. It's my last night here and I had hoped to go out with a bang, but it's been rather dull so far. She traced one nail slowly around the rim of her glass. Maybe you can help me with that. Is that so? Murmured Jake, leaning in slightly. There was something magnetic about this mystery woman, the way she looked at him made his pulse race faster than it had in months. They continued chatting and drinking late into the night. Zoe was smart, well-traveled, and gorgeous. Jake found himself irresistibly drawn in. Briefly, he wondered if this was considered innocent flirting anymore. But as Zoe placed her hand suggestively high up on his leg, suggestive electricity flooded his senses, pushing all rational thought momentarily aside. At her breathy invitation to continue the night back in her hotel suite, his yearning for excitement drowned out the tiny voice in the back of his mind reminding him of Mia waiting at home. Throwing cash down on the bar, Zoe took Jake by the hand as they tumbled giggling into a waiting Uber. Stumbling tipsily through the luxurious lobby of the Four Seasons downtown, Jake marveled at Zoe's sophistication as she led him directly to the elevators and up to the penthouse level. Inside the lavish suite, they collapsed onto the plush king bed, mouths meeting hungrily in passionate kisses that soon led to more. As Jake finally drifted off in the early morning hours, spent and satisfied, he didn't notice Zoe quietly climbing out of bed. With a tight smile, she dressed quickly, her mind spinning rapidly. This clueless man had played right into her intricate plan for revenge against him and the woman he was foolish enough to call his girlfriend. A woman who had stolen the one person Zoe ever cared about, her own sister, Mia. Crossing stealthily to her designer purse, Zoe retrieved her smartphone. With deft fingers, she pulled up the encrypted live feed streaming from the hidden camera she had planted in a ceiling light fixture weeks before. It had captured everything, including compromising footage of Mia's supposedly devoted boyfriend cheating right before her eyes. Smile for the camera, Jakey, Zoe hissed under her breath with quiet satisfaction as she zoomed in on his sleeping form. You're about to make my dear little sister's world come crashing down. She hit a few buttons, compiling choice segments of footage into one video creatively titled A Jake's Night of Passion. Attaching it to a quick email, she input Mia's address. The message read simply, "This is what your boyfriend did last night. He doesn't love you. He never did. You deserve better. Dump him and move on." She hit send. Mia yawned, squinting at the clock on her laptop. 3 a.m. already? She had been so focused on finishing this latest article she had lost track of time completely. Saving her progress, she closed the computer and shuffled tiredly to the kitchen to grab a glass of water. As she sipped, her phone buzzed from the counter. Probably just Jake texting that he was on his way home, she assumed. But instead, she saw an email notification from an unknown sender. Strange for this hour. She opened it curiously. Mia's breath caught in her throat as she downloaded the video file titled suggestively A Jake's Night of Passion and began watching the footage. She gripped the edge of counter until her knuckles turned white, bile rising in her throat as intimate images of her boyfriend and the mystery brunette at the hotel played out right before her eyes. The ending message was like the final vicious twist of a knife to her heart. This is what your boyfriend did last night. He doesn't love you. He never did. You deserve better. Dump him and move on. And it was signed, Love, your sister. Mia squinted at her phone, stomach roiling. Your sister? What was Zoe, her younger sister who she hadn't actually spoken to in years, doing sending her a video like this? Thoughts racing wildly, Mia paced as she tried Zoe's number. Straight to voicemail. Zoe, she said shakily after the tone. It's Mia. I just got your video. Please call me back immediately. I don't understand what's going on or why you sent this. Just please call me. Ok, bye. She hung up trembling without leaving a callback number. Her relationship with her estranged sister had always been strained. Zoe harbored deep resentment ever since Mia had started dating Jake 3 years earlier, back in college. Zoe had been obsessed with Jake first, but when he ended up falling for Mia instead, Zoe had gone off the deep end. There was a huge blow-up fight between the sisters then. Harsh words were exchanged, and they had barely spoken since. Could Zoe still be holding on to bitterness about the past? Is that why she had orchestrated this elaborate revenge plot? Mia's spiraling thoughts were interrupted by the sound of a key turning in the lock. She looked up with a start to see Jake entering the apartment, hair endearingly mussed, his shirt untucked and his tie loosened crookedly. Under any other circumstances, Mia would have gently teased him about what a state he was in. But now she only felt rising nausea. Oblivious, Jake gave her a sloppy grin. "Hey babe, you're up late." Mia crossed her arms, unable to form words. Jake's smile faded as he registered her expression. "What's going on? Why are you looking at me like that?" Wordlessly, Mia turned her phone screen towards him. Jake stepped closer, the color draining from his face as he realized what he was watching. Where did you get this?" he stammered. "I can explain." "Can you?" Mia interrupted coldly. "Can you explain to me why I just got sent footage of you screwing my own sister? Tell me, Jake, what could you possibly say to explain this?" Jake opened and closed his mouth wordlessly before collapsing onto the couch, head in hands. "Oh God, Mia," he groaned. "I am so unbelievably sorry. I never meant, I didn't know Zoe was your sister, I swear." "Sorry doesn't cut it." Mia shrieked. "You cheated on me, Jake. With my sister. After 2 years together, I thought you loved me." "I do love you." Jake insisted desperately. "Going home with Zoe was the biggest mistake of my life. I don't know what came over me. It didn't mean anything, Mia, please." He reached for her hand beseechingly, but she slapped him away, eyes glittering with angry tears. "I want you out," she said quietly. "Now." "Mia, no." Jake implored hoarsely. "Get out," she screeched, her voice cracking as she grabbed his jacket from the closet and hurled it at him violently. "We're over, Jake. I never want to see you again." Jake rose slowly, pulling on his jacket with an expression like a condemned man. He opened his mouth as if to say something else, but seemed to think better of it at Mia's venomous look. Taking one last anguished glance at the wreckage of their relationship, he turned and left the apartment, the echoing slam of the door reverberating with horrible finality. Alone again, Mia collapsed against the wall and finally allowed the floodgates to open. Great heaving sobs racked her slender frame. She had thought Jake was the one. She had imagined the house they would buy together one day, maybe a miniature version of Jake running around, all childish fantasies now. Jake himself stumbled down the street in a daze, looking as shattered as Mia felt. "What have I done?" he agonized. He truly hadn't realized the alluring, flirtatious woman from the bar was Mia's long-lost sister Zoe, but did that even matter in the end? He had still betrayed the woman he loved. And now he may have lost her forever thanks to one careless, drunken indiscretion. The next few days passed by in an anguished blur. Jake desperately tried calling and texting both Mia and Zoe, but neither responded. Zoe's number went straight to a disconnected message while Mia had simply blocked him entirely. Returning home miserably to his modest bachelor pad, Jake placed his head in hands as the reality sank in that the happy life he had built with Mia was now just a distant memory. Across town, Mia was also struggling. Calling out of work sick, she could barely pull herself together enough to leave bed and make some toast, which she barely touched. Her roommate Sophie eyed her worriedly when she emerged from her room on the third day. Mia's eyes were puffy and bloodshot, her hair rumpled and unwashed. "Oh honey," as Sophie said sympathetically. "Are you ever going to tell me what happened with Jake? Why you kicked him out so suddenly?" Mia sighed shakily, curling up on the sofa and finally pouring out the whole sordid tale to her friend, the video from Zoe, the betrayal, all of it. Sophie listened patiently, making all the right consoling noises. "I'm so sorry, Mia," she said finally, giving her friend's hand a comforting squeeze. "What Jake and your sister did is awful. But it will get better eventually, I promise. Maybe you just need to get back out there, meet someone new whenever you're ready." Mia just nodded numbly. She still loved Jake despite everything. The idea of dating anyone new right now just seemed exhausting. After another week had crawled by, Sophie finally intervened with some tough love. "Okay, enough moping," she announced, pulling open the curtains in Mia's bedroom to let the midday sunlight stream in. "It's Saturday and we are getting out of this apartment. My colleague Ryan is having an art gallery opening tonight for his new photography exhibition. We're going. Mia groaned, pulling a pillow over her face. Sophie, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I am really not ready for some glitzy social event. Oh no, you don't get to say no, her friend insisted stubbornly. You can't just wallow here in the darkness forever. Over Mia's further whining protestations, she continued gently, I've told Ryan a bit about what you're going through, and he said he really wants to meet you tonight. Mia finally relented reluctantly, mostly just to get Sophie off her back. She shuffled listlessly through her closet to find something appropriately artsy and sophisticated, settling on an understated little black dress that hugged her slim figure in all the right places. Staring at her drawn face critically in the mirror as she carefully applied makeup for the first time in 2 weeks, Mia had to admit she looked pretty damn good for a woman newly single and emotionally destroyed. That night at the gallery opening, Sophie introduced Mia to her co-worker Ryan immediately. He was cute in a hipster way, Mia noted, with tousled dark blonde hair and black horn-rimmed glasses. Wow Mia, I've heard so many awesome things about your writing, Ryan said warmly, his eyes tracing appreciatively over her form-fitting dress. Really incredible work. Would love to pick your brain sometime about profiling people through photographs. Despite herself, Mia found an answering smile creeping over her face. Ryan's easygoing charm and genuine interest felt like a soothing balm after everything she had recently endured. Over glasses of wine, they chatted animatedly about photography, writing, art and music. Ryan made Mia laugh out loud describing some of his most difficult portrait subjects. For the first time in weeks, Jake and her sister Zoe's betrayal didn't dominate every corner of Mia's mind. At the end of the lovely evening, Ryan asked almost shyly for Mia's number. Heart fluttering unexpectedly, she handed it over without hesitation. In the taxi ride home with Sophie, Mia stared dreamily out at the city lights sliding by. Sue, her friend pressed excitedly. What did you think of Ryan? Honestly, he seems pretty great, Mia confessed, a blush staining her cheeks that had nothing to do with the wine. We really hit it off. And he asked for my number. Yay! Sophie cheered. Oh, I just knew you two would be perf together. So are you gonna see him again? I think so, Mia said slowly, a genuine smile spreading across her face for the first time in what felt like forever. He mentioned maybe getting coffee sometime this week. True to his word, Ryan texted Mia just a few days later asking if she wanted to meet up for coffee downtown. Mia's heart performed a little leap as she typed back an enthusiastic yes. Over steaming cups of dark roast, Mia found herself opening up to Ryan in ways she never expected about her family history with Zoe, the painful video, her broken engagement. Rather than scaring him off, Ryan responded sensitively. I'm so sorry you went through all that, Mia. But it shows how strong you are. And now that you're free of all that toxicity, just imagine the possibilities ahead. His optimism and kindness left Mia feeling lighter than air. Before she knew it, they were lingering for hours, the coffee growing cold, lost in conversation. Over the next few weeks, Mia was surprised and delighted when coffee meetups turned into dinner dates and long meandering walks through Central Park. With Ryan she felt carefree, laughing more than she had in ages. He even convinced her to model for a few of his more avant-garde photography projects, resulting in some gorgeous intimate portraits. Mia knew she was falling fast. But Ryan took things slowly, respecting her emotional healing process from Jake's betrayal. He never pushed her physically beyond occasional hugs or quick goodbye pecks on the cheek. Still, Mia often caught Ryan gazing at her with unconcealed longing when he thought she wasn't looking. The tension was escalating. Mia could feel her body responding instinctively whenever they brushed up against each other accidentally. One crystal-clear autumn afternoon as they strolled hand in hand through Central Park admiring the brilliant changing leaves, Mia was almost dizzy anticipating Ryan might finally kiss her properly under the romantic setting. The moment felt close to perfect. Mia! Mia, wait up! At the shocked sound of that familiar voice calling her name, Mia whirled around in disbelief. Speak of the devil, somehow, Jake was here suddenly jogging up to them on the wooded path, looking desperately out of breath. Jake? What the hell are you doing here? Mia gasped as Ryan's grip instinctively tightened protectively on her arm. It's really you. Oh, thank God. Jake panted, bending over to catch his breath for a minute. Straightening up to glare angrily at Ryan, he pleaded, Mia, can we talk please? Just give me 5 minutes. Are you stalking me now? Mia demanded, outrage sparking through her surprise. This park is over 800 acres, what an insane coincidence you just happening to turn up here. Not a coincidence, Jake admitted sheepishly. I came to your apartment looking for you first but ran into your friend Sophie. She told me you'd be here with him. He gestured rudely at Ryan. Please Mia, I'm begging you, just give me 5 minutes. Jake implored again desperately. Ryan shook his head, stepping partly in front of Mia. I'm not sure that's a good idea. I think you need to leave now. But Mia put a hand on his arm gently. She had loved Jake once very deeply. The open longing on his face was making her heart constrict uncomfortably. Surely she owed it to their history together to at least hear him out? It's okay Ryan, I'll talk to him, she said quietly. Ryan looked uncertain but respected her wishes with a supportive squeeze of her hand. I'll give you both some space but I'll be right over there if you need me, he said, before moving off reluctantly to stand at a distance by a towering oak tree. Alone with Jake now, Mia crossed her arms, bracing herself defensively. Well? You wanted to talk, so talk. What could you possibly have to say to me at this point? Jake took a deep breath. First and foremost, I am so very sorry Mia for everything. You have every right to hate me. He looked positively anguished. Hurting you is my greatest regret. When you kicked me out, it tore me apart realizing how badly I had screwed up. I'll never forgive myself for being weak and risking what we had together. These past weeks without you have been absolute torture. Mia set her mouth in a hard line even as her traitorous heart gave a little lurch hearing his pain. Encouraged that she hadn't stomped off yet, Jake pressed on urgently. After a lot of soul-searching, I finally realized what I need to do to win you back. So I started inquiring quietly about your life now, through Sophie and other friends, wanting to understand how you were doing, and that's when I heard you've started up something new with this Ryan guy. He scowled over at Ryan's distant figure under the tree. And now I hear you two are planning some overseas trip together? Mia no. You can't. We belong together, I can feel it. Reaching out suddenly, he grasped her hands tightly in his own. Mia blinked hard against the hot prickle of tears. She had missed his familiar warmth so much. Being here with you now just confirms everything I already knew in my heart, Jake rasped fervently. I still love you, Mia. I'm going to do whatever it takes to prove I'm the man you deserve. Please give me another chance. Seeing Mia's conflicted expression, Jake pressed his advantage and moved in closer. Run away with me, Mia, he begged urgently. I just booked a ticket to follow you and Ryan to Paris. Come with me instead. We can rekindle things in the most romantic city on earth, create new beautiful memories together there. Staring up into Jake's desperately hopeful eyes, Mia felt her head spinning. Part of her wanted to throw all caution to the wind and let herself get swept up in his words again. But the bitter taste of his ultimate betrayal still lingered. Gently removing her hands from Jake's burning grasp, Mia took a shaky step back. I'm with Ryan now, Jake, she said quietly. Whatever we had, I can't just turn my back on this potential new relationship without really giving it a fair chance first. She watched Jake's whole body slump like she had physically struck him. Please try to understand, Mia implored sadly. After what you did, I just need time. Nodding heavily, Jake roughly swiped a sleeve across his glistening eyes. I do understand, he acknowledged gruffly. As much as I wish it wasn't true, I know reconciliation requires rebuilding trust that I shattered. All I'm asking is, don't write me off completely yet. Consider taking this trip as intended with Ryan. But please just keep an open mind. He looked positively crestfallen. Mia felt her resolve wavering again despite herself. Seeing Jake so completely broken and laying his heart bare stirred a maelstrom of conflicting emotions. She knew ultimately it would be up to Ryan whether giving Jake's desperate request real consideration jeopardized their own budding relationship. Just then, Ryan strode back over cautiously. Everything okay here? He checked, scrutinizing Mia's tear-stained face with concern. Attempting to pull himself together, Jake addressed Ryan directly for the first time. I apologize for ambushing you both like this. I know it was unfair when Mia has made her wishes clear. He turned back to Mia, voice cracking slightly. I hope someday you can truly forgive me. But I meant what I said. I will wait for you however long it takes. Enjoy Paris together. With one last searing look of mingled grief and longing, Jake turned and slowly walked away down the tree-lined path, shoulders slumped in defeat. Mia watched Jake go, conflicted. She still had feelings for him but owed Ryan a chance. Ryan gently asked if they should talk more over dinner. Mia agreed. At dinner, Mia confessed her confusion but also her growing feelings for Ryan. Squeezing her hand supportively, Ryan said what mattered most was how she felt about him, about them together. His patience and support further convinced Mia to commit to him. After dinner, Mia invited Ryan back to her apartment to stay over. They grew closer than ever. A few blissful weeks later, Mia and Ryan jetted off to Paris. Settling into first class, Mia called Ryan her prince for splurging on luxury. Ryan gallantly kissed her hand. Mia was smitten. Meanwhile, back in New York, Jake learned Mia had left for Paris. Determined to win her back, he booked a ticket to follow her there. In Paris, Jake suddenly appeared while Mia and Ryan were dining at a riverside cafe. Enraged to find them happily together, Jake's sister Zoe approached their table. "Surprise, remember me?" she snarled. "I'm Zoe, Mia's sister and Jake's former lover. Now you'll never be happy together." Disgusted by Zoe's ongoing interference, Mia chose Ryan's solid companionship over the turmoil Jake represented. Ryan generously withdrew so Mia could offer Jake closure. "I need a fresh start," Mia told Jake gently. "I wish you the best, but it's really over between us." Jake finally accepted Mia's decision with grace. As he walked away, Ryan took Mia's hand, this time for good.
This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your precious time. If you enjoyed this story, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. That would help me a lot. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.